Dressmakers and friends, welcome again on the channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to create this ruffle design on off shoulder. If you're new here, give this video a thumbs up. You are going to find this video really helpful, and also subscribe to this channel. To create this design, the first thing you want to get the base of your dress ready. So here's my dress, which I'm going to be making use of. Yours can be straight and it could actually be a scoop neckline. So once the base of your dress is ready like this, you want to measure round the off shoulder. Okay, measure all around your off shoulder, just like you can see I folded in my zipper allowance. Okay, so that is not going to be part of the measurement. So you're going to measure from one end to the other end. Okay, you are not going to measure the folded part. Okay, so if your zipper allowance is 2 inches, make sure you have folded the 2 inches in. So I have here 42.5 inches, and I'm going to measure something more than 42.5. Okay, so just get a strip of fabric like this. This is just like a long length of fabric. So we need something of 2.5 inches because I want the base. This is going to be the base of the ruffle. I want it to be 2 inches at the end of the day. So I have cut 2.5 inches by Ankara fabric is usually like 45 inches, so I have something of 45 inches here. Now, to follow the design of my neckline, I want it to have like a slight V, just like this, which is here. Now, if you are having a scoop neck or your neckline is straight, you can skip this step. But I want this to actually be like a slight V so that it can follow the exact shape of my neckline. So I mark the center of the 2.5 inches strip that I cut. Okay, and marking the center like this, I just notch the center, and on the center now I'm just going to mark 1/2 inch to 0.75 or to 1 inch depending on the slant. Then I'll measure 0.25 here. So just connect that slant together like this so it becomes like a slant. Okay, so what you want to do is just go ahead and stitch this part that you have marked like this. Please note that I'm doing this because the neckline is not straight. Okay, I've gone ahead to stitch it. I'm just cutting off the excess fabric that I don't need. So by the time I turn it out, you can see I have like a slight V already. Okay, so you can do this to follow the shape of your neckline. Okay, and then this step is totally optional. If you do not have a neckline that looks like mine, you can skip this part. Okay, so now you can see this sort of match. The slight V made it match the shape of the slight V on the neckline. Okay, so what you want to do now is go ahead to stitch this and then turn it inside out. Stitch it on the wrong side. Okay, go ahead to stitch it on the wrong side, then you turn it inside out. Stitch it from one end right to the other end. Okay, so now here it is after stitching, and I'm just going to turn it inside out now. So once it is out, I'm just going to give it a good press, and after giving it a good press, it's going to come out looking nice and neat. Okay, so once I've given it a good press, this is what it looks like. You can see how neat it is. So now I'm going to match this up to my neckline or my round shoulder. Okay, match it up to see if I have exact or I have any excess. So I have a little bit of excess, so I'm just going to take this out. Okay, fold it inside so that that is not seen. Okay, so the next step is to mark 1.5 inch. The 1.5 inch you are marking is the base where your gathers is going to be. By the time we go on, you are definitely going to understand. So mark the 1.5 inch all around. You can decide to do 2 inches or you can do 1 inch. Okay, so now for you to easily calculate how much organza you will need to count these strokes. So for my strokes, I have 29 strokes altogether. Okay, that is the 1.5 that I mark. It is 29 altogether. And here is the organza fabric which I am going to be using. Now for the organza fabric, you can see my calculation right here, and the strokes that we have on the base is 29 inches. Okay, so 29 by 8 inches because I want the height of my organza to be 8, and I want the distance which I'm going to be gathering to be 8 also. So 29 times 8 inches will give us 232. That is the inches, the length in inches. Okay, so you can do between 8 to 10 inches. Don't allow it to be more than 10 inches so that it does not cover the face of your clients. Okay, so calculate that whether 8 or 10 you did times the number of stroke on the base. That is how you get the length. This length will be accurate. It will not be more, it will not be less. Okay, so now you understand that on organza fabric usually come in a length of 60 inches. So we also have 60 inches here. So now what you want to do is, I'm going to get this to be 8.5. Remember I said I want the height to be 8 inches. So I'm going to mark out 8.5 and cut out 8.5. So by the time I use the ½ inch to sew it inside, I'll be left with 8 inches. So you make sure that you cut this on fold, and remember that you need about 4 of this because you need 233 inches length. Okay, so I have 4 of these cuts. You know that 60 times 4 will give us something like 240. Okay, so join those 4 together just as seen like this. Go and join it together so that it can become like a very long strip, and then all you need to do is cut out the entire length of 233 that you need. Just cut it out. Afterwards, I go ahead to now go and sew that ½ inch out on that length grain, just like that. So I just sew it with my ½ inch seam allowance that I've left. Just sew it straight like that. Now after sewing it, all you need to do is go to turn it inside out. Okay, now we have like one very long strip, so turn it inside out. So just keep coming with me. You are going to understand this video pretty soon. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so and give this video a thumbs up already. I am sure that you are already finding it really useful, so give it a thumbs up now. Thank you. Now arrange your fabric like this such that the seam is in the middle, and now the 8 inches spacing which I'm going to be gathering, this is when we are going to be marking it. Okay, so start marking your 8 inches just like that. 8 inch, then mark another 8 inch, then mark another 8 inch until you get to the very end of your long strip. And it is on this 8 inch mark that you are going to go and run gathers, just like you will normally run your gathers. Okay, you make gather on it, then this 8 inch is what you are going to place on that 1.5 inch. Now I have made gathers. I made sure one side is open and I close the other side. Okay, so one side that is open, that's what I use to pull the thread, just like this. So once you have a good gathers, I'm going to be gathering it into the length of my base. For my own case now, my base is 2 inches, so I gather my 8 inch into 2 inches. So once you have done gathering everything like that, the next thing will now be, you can see this is 2 inches. After the gathers, you will now go ahead to stitch this onto your 1.5 inch marking. So can you see? I'm sure that you are understanding how we'll go about this now. So each 8 inch will be placed on 1.5. Okay, so now place it on the next 1.5 just like that, and then you stitch. So you stitch on just like this. Stitch on your 8 inch to every 1.5 inch spacing. Okay, once this is done, you pick the next 8 inch mark gathers, then you place it on the next 1.5 inch. This is the reason why if you do the calculation properly, your fabric will just be accurate. Once that calculation is done properly and the marking is done properly, everything will just fit, because by the time you are done sewing everything, it will match up accurately with the number of strokes that you have on the base. Okay, so just keep doing this, keep sewing each of that 8 inch distance. And the thing about this 8 inch is that now you can see how high the height of it. So this is about 4 inches high. So if you want to do something longer than 8 inch, you know that it will be higher than this. Okay, I'm just giving you all of this explanation so that you will get an understanding of how to go about if you want to do it on your own. And here is what it looks like after gathering it. This is how I did the end stitch, which is like the beginning of the base. Okay, so that the gathers will just come on top of it like that, and nobody's going to see what is happening. Look at it, okay? So here is what we have, and look at the base, look at the back. So if this is not done on a base, all of these stitches will be done on the make fabric, and we want to avoid doing it on the main dress. That is the need for this base. You can see how all the strokes, you can see it showing. So next thing you want to do, take a look at what it looks like before you put it on your dress, okay? So here is what it looks like. Now for you to put it on your dress now, pick up the center. You know we made it into a slide V, so you have to make sure of that. If you did that in your own step, also make sure that you place it like this, center of the V on the center of this neckline, okay? And then you pin it at different points. Let's say from the center like this, you pin one at the center, then you can see me pinning another one here, then I'm going to pin another one again, then before I now pin it at the very end, okay? And you can see me pinning it just before the zipper allowance. I'm not going to mess with the zipper allowance. That's why I have it folded out, okay? So that nothing happens to it, because we don't have any business with the zipper allowance. So all of these points that I have pinned together, I will now go ahead to stitch it down at those 4 points that I have stitched together. So the only thing that you will see is those 4 lines behind, like on the lining, okay? So that way the inside of the dress will be very, very neat, okay? So you can see me going in with the machine to now sew every part, or every point that I pin is what I am sewing right here. I'll stitch all of the points where I have my pins on. So you go ahead to stitch all of the points. After you stitch the first point, stitch the next one, and that's how you are going to stitch it from one end to the other. Once you are done stitching, then you can go ahead to join the top part to the lower part if it is a dress, and if it's a blouse, you can go ahead to put in your zipper at this point. So by the time you are done, you should have something that looks pretty like this. Let me know if you found this helpful, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you again in this next sewing tutorial.